I really feel like it's time to tell my story. I have to tell it as quickly as possible because TikTok only lets me talk for 10 minutes. I am the middle child of 8 children. 8. I was raised in basically a religious cult. I was homeschooled, not allowed really to see anybody or go anywhere, and a Bible was crammed down my throat. My father was the leader of this family cult, and he was extremely abusive to us and my mother. He ended up passing away when I was 13. I believe it was 13, 12 or 13. And my mom sent us to a Christian school. First, she had to get us social security numbers because we didn't have one. That's how much of a psychotic cult this was. Not that I really believe in social security numbers for the government, but still. So I attended this Christian school for a while, me and my siblings. And there was like 30 kids there in the entire school from like kindergarten to their senior year. There was not a lot of kids, and I didn't really have a lot of friends. I was also really socially awkward, which I still kind of am today. Excuse me. It was just me and my 4 other siblings because the older ones had kind of moved out. But I eventually got tired of that, and my mother was rather abusive and neglectful as well in the way, like, emotionally. So I ended up moving out my junior year and moving to a different town with my boyfriend. I like ran away in the middle of the night, packed my shit, and then left. I still have a hard time like emotionally connecting to my children, and I know that's why. But anyway, I graduated my senior year in Skowhegan. Me and my teenage boyfriend at the time ended up breaking up during my senior year, and I went and lived with my friend Melissa. Me and her still talk sometimes. And after I graduated, things kind of went downhill for me. I ended up into alcohol abuse, toxic relationships. I was homeless for a while before I ended up back at my mom's house, which was not fun. Got a job and my license. I eventually met my ex-husband, who he did get me off drugs and alcohol, which I will give him that. He was a police officer, but otherwise he was a terrible person. We got married, and it was way too fast, and he started abusing me emotionally and physically. And there was some abuse before we were married, but I was too, I was too damaged to care or notice. I left him several times, and we ended up having a daughter together. She's 16 today almost, and yeah, she lives with me full time. Because when he started to get physically abusive, that's when I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, he grabbed my arm and left a handprint bruise on my arm because he gave me an anxiety attack one day, and I went to the hospital and he was mad about that. Yeah. So I left him and got my own apartment. But while I was in my own apartment, Brooklyn was like 1 year old. I found out that my younger brother murdered my other brother with a sword because he had a psychotic break. And that was right in the middle of my divorce and all this other awful shit that was going on in my life. It's really hard to talk about. So I was damaged as fuck and like went on, I don't know, 4 years, just off and on dating people. Nobody really serious, nobody extremely toxic. It was like just flings and like moving around a lot. I moved around a lot. I was not okay, honestly. My mother was there to support me some, like financially. She was there to help me out. Emotionally, no, not really. I really didn't have any emotional support. Not from her, anyway. So I was just extremely irresponsible for a while. Like, my bills would get shut off because I wouldn't pay them. I mean, I probably could have paid my bills, but I just wanted to do other things instead. I really liked doing things with Brooklyn and activities and stuff like that, and I would just tend to spend more money than I had. Life went on like that for a while, and then I ended up meeting Nate, who is Elena's father. We were together for 10 years, and anyway, right in the middle of that, I eventually started visiting my brother in the mental hospital, and he said he was starting to do witchcraft. And at first I yelled, I'm like, that's terrible, you don't do that, that's bad, you're gonna get in trouble. You know, I sounded like those people. But something kept calling me to it, and I ended up eventually summoning demons in my basement. Then one of the first demons that I summoned was Sekhmet, and she absolutely destroyed my life. But she shined a light on everything that was going wrong in everything that I was doing wrong, like in my relationship and with my life and my work. She showed me how I wasn't being treated fairly, how I was kind of being dismissed and being passive aggressive and lied to. And so that spiraled into me eventually in 2020 leaving Nate and going off and buying my own duplex here in Waterville, which I still own today. But I really got really deep into Magick. In 2019, I opened my shop, which only sold merch, like Black Magic merchandise, which was really cool. But I still have that stuff in my shop, but I don't really deal with it much anymore. It led to me doing healings and like Reiki and all the other stuff that I do currently. I ended up getting into another toxic relationship because I was vulnerable and stupid with this guy from California who came to Maine to be with me. And that was a fucking nightmare. I do not recommend. I know it was dumb. It was dumb. But I take full responsibility for that. I was just being stupid and looking for things to fill the hole in my life. And I'm still not fully healed from trauma. I have PTSD, I have depression and anxiety. So like, don't be thinking that I'm perfect now, because I'm definitely not. However, like, I don't put up with shit anymore. Like, I live in my alignment, and if something doesn't feel right, like, it's done. I also I'll be testing for my red belt in Taekwondo soon, which is the belt before black. I have started doing that in 2019 thanks to Beelzebub, who I summoned one day, and he just gave me this violent urge to go do martial arts, and I ended up going to a school in Augusta, and that is where I met my boyfriend now, Jason. And things are going really good with my store. Like, I'm thinking of changing up some things, like doing some courses instead of personal services. I'm kind of over the personal services thing. My boyfriend is amazing to me. We've been together for almost a year now, and he is so supportive and sweet, and he helps me, and he's like everything that I could possibly ask for. Yeah, I just have everything now that I wanted then. It might not look exactly the same as when I started doing magic in my basement. Like, I pictured other things, but I have exactly what I wanted right now. So do magic. Magic changes your life. It changes your life for the better. It's not going to be easy. It's going to have you sacrifice things. It's going to have you get rid of people who are no good for you. And it's going to have you go through all these fucking emotions that you didn't know you had. And it's going to help you heal the trauma in your life and just become a better person and not be so afraid of rejection and filling your... Just filling yourself with things outside of yourself. And like I said, I'm nowhere near perfect now. I have so much more healing to do. I really, really do. But if it wasn't for Magick, I would still be with Nate. I would still be overworked. I would still be unappreciated and dismissed. I would not be okay right now. I would probably be dead. I probably would have had a heart attack. But instead, I'm happy. I'm happy. When I let myself, I'm happy. I can do whatever I want. And I'm happy with my work. I mean, I'm changing stuff, but I'm happy. I'm living in alignment. I know I am. And it's been so hard to get here. And I just wanted to tell my stories encouragement to anybody who's just starting out in this. Like, keep going, keep going. Things are gonna get better. It's never really going to be easy, and even when you're happy, you're gonna be like, what's gonna go wrong? Okay, what's coming? Is this really right? Am I supposed to feel like this? So yeah, you're gonna feel like that, but still, keep going, keep going. You are in charge of your life and your emotions. You are. You're in control. Don't let your story